So this session was primarily intended for the CAT 20 students in terms of planning, but CAT 19 students can definitely get a bit of information from this. It will be hence in a couple of parts. Part one will be now, and the later parts will follow in the next particular thing. Yeah. A couple of sessions. So just so that by now everybody is here, what we'll do is, today what I will do is I will cover why you need to decide your specialization and everything, and why you need to do it right now, the importance of that particular thing. Next, in this session, I'll take up marketing, and the next session I'll take up finance. So maybe within 2 sessions, I'll try to cover everything. So the next one, it's only specializations completely. So everything that you would need as to typically what will a career be like in this field? What will you start, and how will the career progression be like, right? What are the traits that people look for? And even suppose you want to figure out, am I a fit for this particular career? How can you figure that out, right? So first thing, what is the job like and what is a career like in this one, right? And second, yeah, we will go through consulting, this one. Most important quality if you want to become an MBA, right? If you say my consulting, when will my consulting happen? Then you'll, so let's look at everything. So between the 2 sessions, HR will also be covered, but understand that you would need to know everything about everything eventually, right? So it doesn't hurt for you to know what all the specializations are about. Yeah. So we'll do that. And what we'll also look at first, for you to decide, my goal is 2 things. You know what your career, what this area is like. Second, deciding, are you a fit for it? Third one, what sort of profiles do recruiters look for? Fourth one, what do you need to do to build that profile there, right? Now, finance won't be covered today. If there is time, next today, right? Primarily, the need to do this, which is more important for CAT 20 students. And in the next, this thing we'll be looking at, say, finance, operations, HR, and governance, right? I'll cover everything between today and the next one, right? I know about general management, I know consulting, I know data, I know analytics, I know product management, every damn thing under the sun. I have an idea, but we'll get there. Yeah. Now, we'll start with the story. So in February, I think, remember around March or April 2016, one of my best students that I've had so far, he came to meet me at my Chennai, when I was in Chennai at that point of time. Why do I say he's one of my best students? Because he's the kind of guy, I have not seen that kind of dedication everywhere. Firstly, he had a great profile. So his 10th was, I don't know, crazy high, super crazy 90s, 98, 99 or something. In 12th, he had a state second rank in TN, which means again, that would be a 99. In graduation, he had a 9 point plus, and he participated in about, say, 200 odd contests, and he won about 70 of them. And that is how I met him. I was conducting a quiz contest or a lateral thinking contest, and he was part of one of the teams that were contesting. That's how, we met. So when he came, it's not a surprise that eventually he went and joined IIM Ahmedabad. So he joined Ahmedabad, he went there, and he was coming to meet me after his, MBA. And the first thing he said when he came back, when I met, he's like, sir, I want to do another MBA, right? And maybe second MBA. This time I'd want to do it from Harvard. And this time I want to really, I was like, what happened? Where you placed, what happened? So he was placed with a very good firm. It was a fairly decent firm. It is a fintech firm in Pune, and his salary was about 29 LPA, and he was a fresher going on to this thing. So I was like, why are you saying this? How come, already you're planning for another MBA? So he's like, sir, the information asymmetry between what I knew, right, going in to do an MBA, and what was actually required was so huge that I was not really able to make the most of those 2 years there. If I knew most of the stuff beforehand, then I would have done many things separately. It's like, for example, I didn't know that NGO work is almost like a necessity, right? And I didn't have that. So I ended up having a lot of quiz competitions and very little social work on my resume. If I knew that, I would have done that earlier, So I could have done some more certifications or something to get into finance. He wanted to get into finance, but that didn't happen, right? So essentially, we'll get to what he's doing right now a bit later. And he finished in the top 50 So he got a director's medal. He finished in the top 50. He did fairly well. And the 29 LPA is not a bad thing. And this guy is saying that, he wants to do another. And in that course of a conversation, he mentioned another thing. Sir, most of the people at IIM Ahmedabad are not normal people from normal backgrounds like me, or rather, there's like, there are not most. He said there are a lot of people who from a completely different background. So what do you mean? So he said, sir, there was a scholarship for merit-based scholarship for CAT score, and everybody who wishes can apply. So as per the merit, I was 67th on the list, my CAT score. Right? 66 people were there above me. But I still got that scholarship because I was the first person with a family income of less than 12 lakhs. All the above 66 people had a much higher family income, right? So what he essentially was saying that, sir, there are kids of IAS officers, right? There are kids whose parents have businesses, say in 1,500 to 2,000 crore businesses, right? And those kids from childhood, they exactly know what to do and where to go. And their resumes are at a completely different level. I can't even say compare my resume to this. It's like, I'm not even, anywhere. He said, obviously, it's quite a good resume otherwise, but he's like, that's not so. Those kids almost like maybe since they started high school, they've been groomed to get into all of this. And he was like, it's unfair, the system is rigged. So system is not rigged, system is fair. It's just that people who have the knowledge and start early, they end up having a huge advantage. So one is this student, right? And then two completely different kinds of students also who I met. So there's other student that I met. So he was 19 years old, and he was a student of mine in Pune. He came to attend a GMAT lecture. Throughout the whole class, he's very sorted. He was doing pretty well. He was answering all the questions well in advance, but he was not, say, trying to get my attention. He was very discreet. He was not trying to show off that he got the answers and everything. And he would just ask me quietly. So at the end of this thing, I had a chat with him. So he's like, so I'm planning my GMAT. I'm in my second year right now. BCom second year, 19 years old. I'm planning my GMAT in my final year. I also need to do my CFA. So as soon as I finish my BCom, I'll do my CFA. And I want to get into iBanking, and that's my plan. So my first, this thing was 19-year-old kid has so much, information. I was like, what's your background? What do your parents do? Like, my mother's from JBMS, dad was from some other college. So he exactly knows. Both of them are management professionals. So he knows exactly where he's going. Third student, completely different level altogether. 16-year-old student, a 17-year-old student when I met her, 16, 17. Her dad is an IAS officer who was in charge of water and education for Tamil Nadu. And I was, training her for the SAT and all of her, applications. So dad himself is a IITian, IIT Delhi, and converted IIM Ahmedabad, but chose to, join the IAS. Right? That girl was 16. She had a crazy resume, squash and social work and national level squash, single digit rank got, everything. And on top of that, she was very clear. She was going for an undergrad, SAT for undergrad. She was very clear that she wants to do an MBA in finance after that and work in the field of impact investing. And I'm like, this is a 16-year-old girl and she knows this. So essentially, what I figured was that who are the people who know all of this? So people with a family background where they have somehow the information comes in, or the other set of kids I've seen are students who are, say, from an IIT or from an NIT, where a lot of, maybe if they are not there, somebody else knows. So it's not, say, my graduation college, which is maybe the best one in my state, or maybe at least somewhere pretty good in my state, but nobody knew anything there. Right? So it comes from if you're part of an ecosystem where this information is being passed out. And that really, I feel is the difference. So you can go into a B school. I feel only 1/3 of the student population that gets in actually knows, and hence they're able to make the most out of their investment. 2/3, we come from backgrounds that are educated. Right? Our parents are educated. We, also are educated, have gone to decent colleges, but we do not have a clue as to why we are doing this and where. Right? And from whatever I've observed in my 2 years, now when I look back on my 2 years at L, I saw that the people who had this idea, right, made the most of their 2 years. Not that others cannot, but those who know end up reaching where they want fast. So I'll just go through as to why is this, why do you need to know, right? First thing, an MBA does not guarantee a dream job. It places it in front of you as well as many others, right? We think about, say, 3 days XLR ka placement ho gaya, and say a couple of days IIM placements are done, and we look at average salaries. It doesn't mean that everybody is guaranteed that. The best things are placed in front of you as well as many others, and the best people will get the job. Nothing is guaranteed. Your 20 lakh does not even guarantee you your average salary, right? Because it's not a guarantee, right? Technically, everyone will come there, and there will be a selection process, right? And the most important thing is, and an MBA does not change your profile. It helps you amplify it. What do I mean by it? It helps you amplify it. So if you're a fresher, you have a few options. So we'll come to know that later. But primarily what it does is, left-hand side is your profile. Profile plus MBA is equal to, right-hand side is jobs offered by corporates, right? So this match is very, very important. So it's not like take away my profile, only my MBA and jobs offered by corporates. No, it amplifies your profile completely. That is what it does. So what do I mean by amplify? Financial amplification. Whatever salary you are right now, or whatever is your potential earning capacity. So you're a fresher, but you know that on average, you get from your college a 5 lakh as the average package. So on average, a salary amplification, I'm talking about average, about 2.25 to 2.5 times your current earning or your current earning capability. That is what it helps in terms of salary amplification. Second thing is, it actually gives you roles that otherwise will take you a long time to get. So you will go on to the business side of things with this education, which otherwise you will not be able to go into. So it does not change who you are, it amplifies who you are. Right? We'll get into specifics and all later. As we go into each specialization, you will get to know more. Yeah. Recruiters visit campuses. I'll just go back to the previous one. MBA does not change your profile, it helps to amplify. So I had this student, he was a mechanical engineer from Shastra University in TL. Again, did very well over there. Had 3 to 4 years of experience in Ashok Leyland. Right? He was in bus body design. That was what he was doing. And he got into ISB. And post ISB, he got a sales role, an entire sales vertical at Ashok Leyland only. He was at 9, he got a salary of 22.5 lakhs in sales division, heading an entire year. So if you see exactly from 9 to 22.5, it is almost that 2.5 times jump that we're talking about. And moving from a technical role of bus body design, he went into the sales side. Obviously, students are usually thinking that MBA will change everything. So he called me after his he got his placement, and he said, "Sir, I'm a bit disappointed. After all of this, I have to go back to Ashok Leyland again, and I have to same office. I thought everything would change, So, and obviously he was a bit down. All I asked him was, what is the end goal of your MBA? What should you become? You have an automobile engineer or mechanical engineer, 4 years in automobile design. Now you have an MBA. What ideally should you be doing over a longer period? I would say over the longer period, what he should be doing should be to become the CEO of a Volkswagen or any other big automobile firm. Is there any other firm that any other profile apart from his that is maybe can be in good contention to become the CEO of an automobile firm 20 years, 30, 25 years later? Absolutely not. And I asked him that, would you want to be the CEO of Volkswagen? He said, yes. I said, if you want to be the CEO of Volkswagen, is this role a good start? Sales at Ashok Leyland? I said, absolutely yes. Because imagine the same sales role in a different firm where he doesn't know how stuff works, right? He does not know how that organization works. He does not know any people. Here, he'll be getting into a new function, but in a system that knows him. He can do well, and he can always shift to other firms later. That kind of, put his things. Now, of course, he's absolutely happy with the role even at Leyland, because he's saying, I'm getting to meet people and do stuff that, I've never done before. And everything, attending conferences, electric vehicles, this, that, everything. Yeah. So This is what I meant by amplification. Doesn't mean that freshers, what about freshers? Freshers also will get to, don't worry. Recruiters visit campuses and choose profiles that are most aligned to their roles, right? So so you don't get a role only because you've taken that specialization. Right? So you have gotten, and you say, I've done MBA finance, I'm an engineer, I've done MBA finance, so why wouldn't the recruiter get me? So everybody else would also have done that specialization, right? Everybody who's interested in finance would have done a finance specialization, right? So all other things being equal, it's that guy who has that one thing more or two things more on his profile pre-MBA, because during that MBA, everybody gunning for something will do the same thing. But what comes in before that? So obviously, a chartered accountant who slogged for say years to get that CA degree, he also has paid 20 lakhs and he also has got a finance specialization. Obviously, the recruiter will look at him above you, right? So recruiters visit campuses and choose profiles that are most aligned to their roles, not because you've done a specialization. Specialization is one of the things, right? So as I said, profile plus MBA leads somewhere, right? So if you wait till your first year to finish, till you decide, most people say, I'll finish my first year, you will waste 2 years of profile building. Right? So for CAT 20 students, you have an entire year till you join, right? And once you join the first year, when so many things will be happening on campus, how do you decide what sort of activities to take up, right? If you know which kind of sector you want to work in, you want to work in e-commerce, suppose you have that clarity, maybe you can take up projects related to that, live projects or whatever it is. So you'll end up wasting 2 years of profile building opportunity, right? And that essentially means that you have nothing apart from what you are right now. Right? You'll go in and you'll do, but you'll be completely at a loss compared to people maybe who've been planning things from their graduation itself, right? To do this. Forget graduation, at least people who know and who started, say, planning things from now itself. So if you wait till you finish your first year, you will be lagging behind in terms of your profile. Absolutely no doubt about that. Yeah. The biggest thing I find it funny in India is that we are willing to into education without even knowing about what the outcome is going to be or what you want. Into a good college, I want to invest 20 lakhs and then decide what sort of return you want. I think there'll be a few XLRI call getters if they're here. So people come to me and say that, sir, what about BM or HR? Which one? I don't know. Equal between both. I've got both. They're such different fields. It's like only in India will somebody spend 20 lakhs and will be okay with whatever the seller is giving them. It's fine as long as I'm getting in. Right? Because, and obviously, it's not, and people keep talking about ROI. ROI, if you don't, it's not like an ATM machine where you're putting in a 20 lakh check and you're getting in, say, a 20 lakh check later with someone. It just doesn't work like that. Right? So, I don't think, and the attitude seems to be like, I'll get into this bus. I know that it has a few stops, 4 to 5 stops. After getting into the bus, I'll decide where I want to get off this bus. Right now, I'll try to enjoy that. Just absolutely doesn't work, right? So you cannot invest this money without, doing, finding out more earlier, right? So for all CAT 20 students, this is why you need to do it. So the time to choose your specialization hence is right now. So this slide is specifically for all the CAT 20 students. You don't have to say, I'll do the CAT. CAT and the math is just a small part of it, right? Whether you can make the most of your 20 lakhs depends upon what you're putting onto your resume, because your CAT score won't be on resume, by the way, right? The CAT score is not going to be on your resume. And on the IIM, inside the IIM campus, on your campus, everybody else is from the same IIM, right? So what else is there apart from that on the resume? That is aligned is what matters. Right. So before that, so to choose your specialization, before we go to the resume part, we'll look at what is it that matters in terms of a specialization, and then what are the different specializations like. So before starting your MBA program, what should you know? You need to know which domains you want to work in. Right, broadly, at least you need to have at least one very clear thing. Okay, I'm looking at operations or general management. I want to get into finance, preferably say trading or maybe treasury roles. I want to get into marketing, preferably maybe into brand management. You need to know that. And hence for that, which specializations you would need to choose to work in that domain. Okay, consulting, I know, but what does consulting mean? What do I need to take in terms of specializations? Do things that will align your resume to that profile. Okay, I like to do this, but is my resume something that a marketing recruiter or a finance recruiter would like? Right? Draw up a list of leading firms in that profile, study them, and decide the ones you want to work with. Right? Instead of figuring out about a company on campus, look at, okay, marketing, what are the different firms? Okay, what are these firms like? And then decide the ones that you want to work with. So these are the few things definitely that you should know before starting your MBA program. Right? Again, this for 20 students, there are more time. For CAT 19 students, I don't think that much time, but yeah, so you should maybe get into those things right now. What we will cover: typical roles offered in a domain and the career progression, the traits that are required to succeed in this domain, the things on a resume that will demonstrate these traits. What I mean by traits is that we can have the skills, but not necessarily the traits and the attitude required to succeed in a particular. Things on a resume that will demonstrate these traits, things that you can take up to bolster your resume for this particular domain. We'll start with sales and marketing, and then we'll go ahead. Yeah. So I'll give enough time for Q&A as well. If there's time, we'll do finance. Otherwise, finance, we'll keep it for the next thing. So sales and marketing, firstly, you are not going to directly sell anything. You are not going to do this. That's not going to happen. You're only going to manage a sales channel. So what I'll cover broadly is what are the roles that you'll typically get? How does a career go ahead? Typically, most companies, the typical sales companies, are the most sought after firms: Hindustan Unilever, Nestle, P&G, Cadbury's, Pepsi, Coke, Asian Paints. These are the big firms which are typically called fast moving consumer goods, the FMCG sector. Right? So, and they are the big recruiters, with Hindustan Unilever being the most sought after recruiter. So usually, not all, they start off with giving you a role in sales, right? So what do I mean by role in sales? For example, I graduated in sales and marketing and I joined the Aditya Birla Group, and my designation was, I was the area sales manager for Louis Philippe Van Heusen and Allen Solly for TN and Kerala. So for TN and Kerala, I was responsible for all the sales. And what was I supposed to do? I was supposed to maximize sales by looking at existing stores, right? And also looking at where can new stores be opened. Is there a new mall coming up? In that mall, should the Louis Philippe store be there? Right? So that, looking at all the big key accounts, right? There are, say, many multi-brand outlets, that sell various different, all the brands as well. So multi-brand outlets, how the sales from that outlet? So my job was to manage this whole thing. I didn't have an office. So I have to work out of the distributor's office. So in sales, usually different companies have different structures. Broadly, there is a distributor, and this distributor has a sales team. This distributor sales team. So for example, suppose you're working in ITC, right? So there'll be many distributors, because will the number of stores selling an ITC chips be more than the number of stores selling Allen Solly? Absolutely. It will be maybe 10, 15, 20 times that many, or even more. So obviously, the larger or more FMCG frequently used the product, and the more this thing it is, there are two things that happen. I got an entire state, right, to handle, 2 states, TN and Kerala, because the business is that much and the number of outlets are smaller to handle. Whereas my friend who was working with agrotech at that point of time, and he joined, he was responsible for Sunrock Oil. He had only one entire area called coastal AP as his territory, right? Because within that, the size is that huge. So depending on the product that the firm is in, you will get the size that you're doing, size that you need to handle in terms of the market. So yeah, so everybody will have distributors under them. The distributor will have a set of salespeople under them. And these salespeople are the ones who will be going and taking the orders. So you don't need to actually go and take any orders, but you should know, right? The idea of this sales stint is that you'll go around to these stores, you'll visit these stores and find out, okay, what happens on the ground. Because later, for a much later, how is your product sold, right? You are supposed to ensure that, okay, and there are these small stores, and there'll also be big stores, for example, stores which are, say, like, in my case, say, Shopper Stop, or those stores which are key accounts. or say something like a Reliance Fresh or big grocery stores, if you're in another industry, you should see that in these big, say modern, they're called modern retail formats, how is my brand represented? How much shelf space am I getting? Is it right where maybe it will capture the attention of the people? So all of these things, so you're supposed to maybe partly responsible for that as well. So you are only looking at managing this whole network. So that is what you're supposed to do. Managing this whole network, you are not actually doing any direct sales. So my friend, as I said, was managing postal AP. Now, in terms of the skills required in this to manage these sales, so you know that that distributor sales guy is already there. He's doing all the job that is there, right? And suppose there is a store that doesn't stock your your brands. It stocks somebody else's brand, not your brand, for whatever reason, right? Then your job, and maybe he has some issue with the distributor is not able to crack that particular store, which is slightly big, I'm talking about big accounts or whatever, then maybe it's your job when you go in to meet the owner of that store and say, when I was dealing with sari store owners who were like who had said, I think there are these big sari stores in Chennai which are 4 floors, and obviously the women were the one who were doing the shopping for the kids, and because men also will tag along, there was 1 floor for the men because men also need to be there, and even for the weddings if men need to have something, so that was at 1 floor that was there. And these stores itself were about like say easily 500 to 1,000 crores in terms of turnover, so big. So you go as a MBA, as somebody not at a distributor level. Distributor will have some relationship. You go and strike up that relationship with that person. So in sales, what happens in these first few years is that you will not be applying a single thing that you learn in the textbook. Absolutely nothing. Nothing that you learn in a textbook will actually be useful, because how is it useful when it's about relationship building with people? Nobody teaches you as to how to build relationships with people, right? And you're meeting completely different people. So in a day, I'm working maybe with my distributor sales team that is there. So I'm saying hi, hello to them and meeting them. And these guys might not even be graduates, right? Who are, and these guys also. So my first posting before I got this, at the beginning, it was Delhi and Rajasthan. So between say that distributor sales guy in Delhi and Rajasthan and Chennai, there was a huge difference, right? The Delhi distributor sales guy was absolutely, dressed pretty well, pointy shoes, hair, all this thing, and, speaking in English and, acting as if, he's the, company guy and I'm working for him, So he's like, we go out after he shows me the market, we go out for lunch and he's like, I'm paying. I'm like, you don't pay, I have to pay, I'm the company guy. So Delhi guys like that, ekdam, trying to be super stylish and everything. So there's a good story from, back in the day. He's just doing this, that, no, don't pay. I'm like, shut up, I'm paying, it's okay. Then he says, okay, so ditch kar lete hai, let's ditch. So then I figured, I was not understanding for a moment. I was just thinking, what does he mean by let's ditch? Then I understand what he meant was actually let's Dutch. Let's go Dutch and share. That was what he meant, right? So that's the level of the Delhi sales guy. The sales guy in Chennai, the distributor sales guy, absolutely meek. He won't even stand straight. He will stand like this. And when you say hello, to wish him or anything, he'll just put his hand forward. The hand will just be extended in a lame manner. It's like, sir, whatever you want to do with my hand, you can do, sir. You are the boss. So it'll never be a firm handshake or not. I'm generalizing, but yeah, that's how things work. So from dealing with these people, I'd had to say go attend the funeral of say a very big sari store brand there down in Chennai. I think the people from Chennai would know. It's called RMKV. It is quite a big brand. So the owners there, son or one of the people there passed away years back in an accident. So I had to go to a small place in TN called Tirunelveli and attend a funeral. All of this just within months of joining. Yeah. So doing that and as well as doing this, do you think any textbook will prepare you for it? Absolutely not. Not happening at all. So in sales, what matters a lot are what are the core people skills. Now, after you have the sales stint, so typically for women, the sales stint will be a year. And it can be any, and they'll try to make it in an urban area or a city primarily, right? So they'll try to do that. For men, it varies from 2 to 3 years. So at the end of this 2 to 3 year period, there will be a clear choice that you can make. Either you continue in sales or you move to marketing. Right? Or you continue in sales or you move to marketing. So there'll be two kinds of people. One lot that will say, I don't want to be sitting and making PPTs and doing branding and all of that nonsense. I am somebody who needs to be constantly on the move. So I have to be in sales. मुझे PPT नहीं, I don't want to make PPTs for the rest of my life. Right? I'm somebody who's super active and I like meeting people. Right? I forget all of this strategy. I can sell the stuff. So these are people who can easily forge relationships everywhere and everything. So they will tend to continue in sales. So from areas, they'll move to zones and regions, and they can go all the way to national sales manager. Right? There is the other lot that will say, I am not interested in this going and selling and running around and talking to these people. I want to do branding. I want to create brands. I want to work with agencies to deliver these ads. So मुझे ये सब नहीं करना. I don't want to speak to these shopkeepers. Right? So those guys move to marketing. Usually all firms have this structure. One of the rare firms that does not believe that you have to do sales first and then go to marketing is P&G. P&G has a separate division for sales and then a separate division for marketing, which is called consumer behavior. So actually they go to a B school and directly recruit people for marketing. That's the only firm that I know that does that. Most other people, unless of course you have previous experience already in sales. Most other people, if you're a fresher or if you have no experience in sales, they'd want you to do this. So from sales, you move to marketing if that is where your area of interest lies. So what is marketing about? Again, marketing, I think all of you would know 4 P's of marketing: product, price, place, and promotion. Those are the 4 things. So marketing starts with that. The first P, right? What is the product that you need to make? So when I say what is the product that you make, now that everybody's every year making new products, right? But you're also making, say, incremental tweaks to your existing product, right? Maybe you're changing the packaging, maybe you're changing something or the other. Right? So how do you know what to make, right? Because marketing is about satisfying a consumer need. So it starts with consumer research. So through the agency and with marketing, the moment you come into marketing, the other aspect, the big part of your work life will be the agency. So the advertising agencies will take the entire research work for you, whatever research you want. They'll get all the research work done for you. So right from that to advertising campaigns to everything, that is what the agency will be working with. So you are at one end and you'll be working with the agency to get a lot of things done. So for example, you might be looking at research about existing products. Okay, are these flavors okay? Suppose you launch 3 flavors of something. Do you want more flavors? So you want to do some research on the kind of flavors that comes. And that is something that you're doing, right? Or the absolute what you call work would be as part of marketing would be launching completely brand new products, right? So I'll give you an example of that so that you can understand how that works. So for example, many years before, I think this was close to, not many years, I mean, 7-8 years before, my friend was working in Britannia, the same friend. So when I say my friend, it's primarily one friend only. Yeah? So he was working in Britannia, and he is 1 year senior from IIM Cal. So my friend went to IIM Cal, is 1 year senior, who was already working in Britannia for a while. He was given for 1 year, he was made, say, group product manager for innovation. He was given 1 year, absolutely blank slate, and they said, do anything that you'd want. But at the end of 1 year, you should tell us, or say during the course of that 1 year, what are the new products that we should launch in the NutriChoice brand? What are the products that we should launch? That was the mandate that was given to him. Right? So this guy, the senior, so he's like, okay, NutriChoice is health. So he starts commissioning research, Indians, health. So what is it about health? And all the research points in just one direction. Right? That Indians and health, the biggest health problem Indians have is diabetes. India is the diabetes capital of the world. So all that rice that we eat and all the sweets that we eat and the tea and the sugar, it goes there. Right? So India is the diabetes capital of the world, and that is the big health issue. How can NutriChoice deal with that? Right? So Indians have diabetes and Indians like tea. But what do Indians also like with the tea? The biscuit. Right? And all biscuits have sugar. Until that point of time, there was no product in the market which was a diabetic friendly biscuit. They launched the product, right? That was the idea. And within no time, the product is a smash hit. 1,000 crores it reaches within no time. So much so that through of us go to, all friends comes in group, come in groups of 3. So the third part, this is my friend who, was in HR. Right? So we went to meet him. We went to his place once, and his dad was super happy. His dad sees this guy in Britannia. Is like, hey, that biscuit that you launched, this awesome. Auntie would never give me the biscuit before, to have with my tea, and now she's giving it. Right? So obviously that, product, there was clear need and nobody saw that. So through research, that came in, right? So that is where marketing starts. What is the need? Even in technology companies, you might have the core architecture to make, say, many things. But what is the thing that will actually meet this need? And that is how you do this, but you do marketing research. So it can be for existing, but sometimes you see, okay, they've made a slightly better cover, friendly opening, right? User-friendly opening. How did that happen? Through market research, right? Every year they launch a new version of the product, and that's how that happens, right? So does this whole thing end when you just decide what product is there? No. Then you have to go into the manufacturing part, right? So the marketing team is also liaising with the production department. Okay, can we make this biscuit? How easy is it to manufacture a biscuit? You get into that part, so somebody else handles it, but you're working with them, right? Does it stop there? No, it doesn't stop there. You need to know what kind of packaging to come up with, right? This is a particular brand, so the packaging has to say reflect the brand. So again, you're working with the agency to do the packaging design, packaging manufacturer. Is there anything at that time? The biscuit break was a big challenge. So how do you do that and doing the packaging design? And the last part is the advertising campaigns also that have to be made, right? Because things are made, or the make or break also can happen there. So you're designing advertising campaigns as well, and you're designing that way by speaking to the agency. So if you look at it, there is this agency, you're different as a person in marketing. You are dealing with different stakeholders. Are you alone doing everything? No. You're making the strategy. So right from, you will be there on the set when the ad is being shot. But are you going to say this is the ad? No, you might give your inputs, but the agency will be, you will be driving everything. This is what this brand is supposed to be. This is what this product is supposed to be. Whatever needs to be communicated. So you will be standing there and you'll be doing workshops for the agency people, so that they exactly understand what's there in your head, right? And so in even agency also, the research team will be different, the creative team will be different. So you are actually working with all the different people, right, to ensure that this works. Does it end there with the ad? No. The merchandise has to be there on the shelf, right? And any new merchandise or different merchandise that takes up more shelf space, is any guy just going to give you that more shelf space just like that? No. So if you worked in sales, you know what sort of schemes that you can run for the distributor and for the retailers, so that they stock your stuff and not somebody else's stuff. Right? So I remember a long time back, way back in my childhood, which is quite some time back. So by that Pepsi versus Coke ads used to happen on television. There will be like crazy ads happening. One ad, countering the other, Pepsi and Coke. So at that point of time, when somebody came, I think Pepsi or Coke, when they came to campus for presenting at Lucknow, all campuses companies come to present. So they said, when you guys watch the ads, you think that is where the fight is happening, right? But that is not what happens. The fight, that is just one fight. The fight is when a guy is thirsty and he actually stretches his hand out. Does the store there have a Pepsi or a Coke? The distribution fight is the bigger fight. So you can make the product, but your experience in sales will tell you what sort of stuff that you need to actually get products to move on the ground, right? So if you look at ads also, and ads and advertising and communication, that can be a make or break, right, for any product. Rahul is saying it's a myth that only freshers can enter sales and marketing or whatever. Yeah, we'll get to that later. In terms of profile, we'll come to that later. Now, if you look at, say, advertising communication, right? Say, Tata Nano, absolutely fantastic product as far as the need goes. Sub 1 lakh car, who in India will not want it, right? But absolutely big flop. And a lot of people know that Tata Nano was a marketing failure and not not a product failure. Why? Because they marketed the whole thing as a cheap car. And that is the last thing you have to do when it comes to a car. Because in India, buying a car is a sign of prestige. You're moving one step up in society, right? It's a step up, right? So if you buy a Nano and everybody who's seen the ad knows that it's a cheap car, are you going to get any prestige from buying that? Absolutely not, right? So you're not buying a car, but you're buying prestige when you're going up, right? So people might as well say that actually they might look at your car and say, no, it's just a nano. Nobody is going to. You might as well buy a what you call Enfield. Enfield will give you absolutely so much more credibility, right, than buying this one. So that's why it was a big failure, because it was not communicated properly. Right? Now, if you look at communication in various, when Coke was launched in a big way in India many years back, there was this Amar Khan ad. So this is where usually, so I feel the generation gap, because ads when I was watching ads, and now it's completely different. But at that point of time, the ad said, for the Amar Khan ad said, Thanda matlab Coca-Cola. Thanda is nothing but anything which is cold. And you might think it's just Amar Khan or whatever. No, but Coke wanted to ensure that in interior India, where it gets very, very hot in the villages and everywhere else, that is also a big market for them. And because Coke is an international company, the recall might not be there. And the ad meant when they said Thanda matlab Coca-Cola, because people go into a store and say, Ek Thanda dena, give me a Thanda or give me a cold one. Right? And when they say Thanda matlab Coca-Cola, that is the association that they wanted to make. So the ad communication is also happening at that particular level in terms of what you're doing. If you look at Maruti has a different way of say connecting. There was I think pretty famous Maruti ad, which also talks about the Indian consumer, right? So if you look at the Akshay saying that rural people still use Thanda for Coca-Cola. Yeah, so that's how much the ad campaign sticks. So if we look at Maruti knows that Indians are absolutely, so Indians are all very, very cost conscious, right? They're absolutely yeah. So what did they do? The whole thing was about different ads to show that how much mileage, because we want to know how much mileage does it get. So I think there is an ad where a couple of Indians are watching a NASA rocket take off, and they're saying kitna deti hai, how much mileage does it give, because that's what Indians are conscious about, right? So that is a very nice way of addressing something that is a core consumer need, but in a funny way. It does not insult that person in any way, right? That petrol khatam hi nahi hota hai, right? Good, Vaibhav is giving, I've said another item. So communication is a big thing that we are looking at, right? So as part of marketing, you start from everything. You start from this thing. You also need to be very clear about the pricing. How much should you price this? And when they talk about place, it's about what are the different channels through which you need to sell it, and also how should the store look, this, that, everything else about that, location and everything. So if you look at sales and marketing as a function, another big interesting thing is that there is always a fight between sales and marketing guys. Sales guys always say that the product is bad. Anything else, they say the product is bad. Hum to kuch bhi bechte. We will bloody sell everything. Product is bad. Right? Marketing guys always say the sales guys are not putting in any effort. So it's always a bit of a love-hate relationship that happens between the two. And mostly the love-hate relationships usually has lots of swear words. And I think even in a friendly way, they'll use bad language to address each other and stuff. So that's how it works. Ankit says that do colleges teach understanding of consumer sentiment? Yes. So what you will have is a subject. So what are the subjects that you will learn? So one of the subjects was sales and distribution management. You will have consumer behavior. Right? You will have research, basic market research in the first year, because everybody needs maybe in any function some amount of research, and advanced market research as an elective. Right? You'll have strategic marketing as a separate subject that will be there. Right? So will be so many different subjects, and you can choose. You can choose whatever interests you. So that is not there. So the entire part will be there. Right? So you are not, so also understand that you learn all of that, but all of this learning, right, will be somewhere useful for you, only say after you finish sales and then get into marketing. How much is the increment in sales compared to marketing? It's, I think both are carrying the same targets. So both marketing people and sales people are carrying the same targets. Yeah. General management will go on later. So let's we'll get into the profiles and stuff later. Yeah, we'll get there later. So this is sales and this is marketing, and both these, if you're rising along both ranks, both have a clear path to CEO. So you can be the national sales manager, and from there you can become the CEO of a company, right? You can be the CMO, chief marketing officer, And from there also you can become the CEO of a company, right? So both channels, both tracks lead to that path of the CEO. Usually, so if CEO has come from a sales background, the company will behave in one way. If CEO has come from a marketing background, the company will behave in a completely different way. The sales background CEO will say, get the mal onto the shelf. I'm not interested in you finding the perfect campaign, perfect cover, perfect this thing. More matlab, mal thokna hai, there should be more stuff on the shelf. A marketing guy might be very, very strict, strategy oriented. What is the positioning? What is the differentiation? What is the segmentation? And so he'll be asking those questions. So that's how, say, the people who are heading might also differ. So if we look at what are the skill sets required. So now I've told you, now you've got a fair idea as to what the roles are. So what the roles are in terms of sales and marketing. And how does this translate into skill sets? If I look at skill sets, ability to forge a connection with people from different backgrounds, it is not about communication skills. Everybody can have communication skills, right? More than communication skills, it is about forging a connection with people from different backgrounds. Yeah. Somebody says, Kavyan says, can marketing be a good field for introverts, right? Yeah, so good field for introverts, absolutely. So a good field for introverts, it's not easy if you're an introvert. Preferably, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, you need to want to forge a connection with people, right? So, yeah, Baba, we'll talk about resume building tips, from today itself. So distributors are experienced people. So when they see any fresher as sales, see, they also know that the fresher is also there to learn, right? And this fresher, if he continues, he might become their boss sometime later, right? So the distributor, and also it is not as if it's some crazily obscure thing for you to understand. It's not very, very complex. It's primarily relationship management, and you can always use your brain. Yeah. So if communicating with people is more stronger in my case, how do I know I want marketing more than HR? Right? Yeah, so I think Naved says I'm an introvert working in sales, and it actually helped me a lot when it comes to talking to people. Yeah, if you work with new people, it's in that will. Yeah. So we'll get into the rest of the stuff later. Which is the best specialization? We'll get into questions later. We'll get into all of that. So first thing is the ability to forge a connection. So you have this. Second thing is you need to present your ideas in the most convincing manner. What do I mean by most convincing manner? So we saw that you are pitching ideas to your sales team, not very much, but very little. But as a marketing person, you're speaking to so many different stakeholders, and you are the one who's trying to convince, or rather communicate, what are your ideas and your this thing for the brand and where should it go forward. So the ability to convince, it's not because you're not selling products to an individual. You're actually selling ideas and pitching ideas so that the other people can run with it and make an ad. Right? So they are the ones who are supposed. So ability to present ideas in the most convincing manner is something which is important. Ability to evaluate different options strategically every single time. So you're launching new products, you're doing this, you're doing that. So, okay, will this product hurt this product, is the price point right? Who will it be competing with in the market? So constantly having this strategic thinking capability is also important, which is maybe strategic thinking is important for every other stream as well, right? Ability to manage multiple teams in different locations, functions, and organizations. So as I said, you'll be working for one organization, maybe for doing research, maybe another organization to do some social media, initiative for you. You'll be working with the production team to figure out whether the new product can launch and get launched in time in terms of manufacturing. You'll be working with the, sales team to, motivate them and speak to them about it. So you are the center around which this whole thing will be moving. So you need to be able to, you're not directly managing everybody. Everybody might have their own reporting head, but somewhere you are getting work done through a lot of different people. So ability to forge a connection with people and all of this. These are the skills required, right? So some of you might feel, yeah, I have these skills, but that might be still or might not be, required thing for marketing. Might not be something that means directly marketing. It can mean HR, it can mean something else as well. Yeah. So is marketing for you? You need to have those skills. Second, do you think yourself as an enabler or a creator? Right. So in marketing, primarily, while you're creating, your role primary, a lot of it is like as an enabler. You are making things happen, right? So if you're a hardcore techie who likes to do things where between you and the end product, there should be very few steps, then marketing will be difficult because you're always using others to get things done. Right? So say in finance, for example, in say roles in trading or say investment banking and everything else, you are more or less the creator in the sense that you are doing the deal. Right? They're not 10 different people in the system between you and the chain. That's why finance usually has small teams with a lot of money and those few people working on that. Right? So, but with marketing, you're working with a huge ecosystem. So when you think of this, do you have the ability and do you like working with many different teams to make things happen? Right? One thing is having the ability, but second thing is you want to say, no, I don't want to deal with so many different people. I might have the capability, but I like to work alone or with as many few people as possible. I'm more of that. I don't want so many stakeholders. So if you feel that you like working with different people, so many teams, you like that excitement and that action, then marketing is for you. But if you're like, leave me alone, leave me this job, I will do it, then marketing is not for you. Definitely another field, right? If you're a lone ranger sort of this thing, then it will be difficult for you. Do you like the idea of building a successful brand? That is something that marketing is about. So I've worked for this brand. I've played a role in creating this brand. So is that idea appealing? If who cares about brands, that doesn't matter. Then it's not something. Do you like the idea of creating products that people like? Product. What brand is one thing. So Apple stands for something, or Coke stands for something. So, but what about building great products? Do you like the idea of that? So between these skills and these traits, you need to decide whether is this for me. Right? For example, one student within IT, he joined IT sales because he's like, sir, I cannot think of myself sitting at a desk. I wanted to, which is why I wanted to go meet people. I want to travel. So that's why he took that up as opposed to direct IT project management or ops or whatever. So these are the traits. So just to go back so that, so these are the skills that are required. It need not mean that all of these skills you should have completely to the maximum ability right now. No, you have time to build those, right? But there should be some core elements there. Right? As somebody was telling me in the chat, there is an introvert who started in sales, but it went there, right? So Vedant says, what if we are not versed with the local language? See, that's the thing about saying you need to be able to communicate and make a connection across everything, across language, across every barrier. You need to get to do that. Right? Yeah. So now we'll talk about everything else. Yeah. What if some people stammer? See, eventually, if you're able to overcome that, it's fine. As in, if that does not come in the way of you making a connection with people, that's fine. So, yeah, I have a knack for emotional psychology. Should I open for marketing or HR? We can deal with that later, right? So I just wanted to give a broad idea. Now once we go to the profile, once we finish this part, we'll take the doubts. Yeah. So now we've looked at this also. Now if we look at a marketing resume, academic profile, do you think for the kind of role that I've mentioned so far, having 90, 90, 90 is important? Absolutely not. Academic profile is not important. Great marks and marketing marketing has nothing to do. Academic pedigree, do you need to be from an IIT or a big college or whatever? No, because there are a lot of marketing roles. It's not limited roles where they have to filter. So academic profile and academic pedigree do not matter for marketing. Right? What about education background? What education background can be relevant in India? Because that means only BBA marketing. People can get it. But that how many people will be there in BBA marketing itself for doing who will finally get into an IIM and hence. So educational background is also not important. Right? These three have nothing to do with marketing in terms of right? So professional degree, CA, CFA, CS, absolutely not important. Work experience. Now, if you have relevant work experience, it's definitely a bonus, right? Why do I say it's a bonus? Because if you have relevant, so freshers are preferred. So why freshers are preferred and say somebody has 2 years of IT experience, so 3 years of IT experience, why not? Because if you see the first 2-3 years of being in sales, where you don't have an office, you need a lot of energy. You are traveling around in the sun also maybe, and you're traveling across the state. They feel that freshers are a clean slate and they have the energy to go make this happen. Right? After 2 years in IT, you want your own cabin maybe and you want to play manager. right? You want a desk and all of that. So which is why they feel a clean slate and freshers are much better off than people with, say, irrelevant work. They say that's why freshers are preferred. Work ex people, definitely, if it is relevant. Sales, after sales. So sales, those who are, I think one of the Naved, I think, was telling me that he works in sales. Yeah, absolutely. So if you have sales experience, maybe they can directly take you for marketing. After sales, so those who are working in, say, automobile firms, or say product firms or manufacturing firms, where after the sales is done, you actually go and meet the client and find out if there is any issue. You're just managing this after sales service also for a region. That also comes as under sales experience. If you're working in digital marketing, even if you're working in content writing, or if you have some sort of startup experience, all of these can be relevant. Why startup? Because startup, you're constantly thinking about what the consumer wants. So all of these will be relevant. Freshers preferred. If this work X is there, great. So if you see, if you're a fresher, not a great academic profile, no great academic pedigree, educational background, engineering just for the sake of it and everything, or whatever it is, you know that nothing stops you from getting into marketing. None of these are barriers, right? Because none of these things, apart from a relevant work ex, if you remember the role that it spoke to about, none of those skills are reflected through this. You can't learn in a book, as to how to do this. So what is it that is actually required? Extracurricular activities. Now, if you're a sportsman, right? If you're a sportsman and you've played a team sport, are you always working with others? Yes, you're absolutely working with others and to achieve a particular target, right? You're achieving with somebody together, you're achieving a particular target. And that means that if you're a sportsman, something with which nothing but exactly the same thing that you're going to do in sales with a team, right? If you especially played a team sport at some level, with a team, you're trying to achieve a target, right? So we're talking about communication skills and say whether you can easily gel with different people, right? Suppose you've done dramatics, right? You've done dramatics and you know that you're absolutely shameless. You have to be a bit shameless to get onto stage, unless you're that rare breed who's an introvert, and only when you get onto the stage, you become absolutely creative, but otherwise you get off and you're again shy. But very rarely that is the case. So if that's not the case, so if you've done dramatics, you've done singing, you've done dancing, you've done any sort of extracurricular activity, anything that indicates creativity, adaptability, extroversion, people skills, high kinetic energy. Why high kinetic energy? Because you need a lot of energy to be driving all these people and to be traveling and doing 10 different things. So sports, dramatics, singing, dancing, languages, even trekking and traveling to different places. So all of these will actually indicate on your resume, if you have all of these things, this guy will fit the bill. So my own story. So at the end of the first year, marks had come in. And in the midterm, by the time the midterm has happened, in the midterm, so it's usually 45 days, midterm, 45 days, and term. In the midterm, I was in the top 5 of almost every single subject. And I thought I'm absolutely a stud, even at IIM with all the IITians and every other person. I am there in the top 5 every subjects. I can nail everything. So it just kind of, I was a fresher who got in. So it kind of got to my head and I just chilled a bit. I just chilled slightly. And by the time the end term was over and the results came out, forget 8, I didn't even get a 7 out of 10. I was close to 6.97. And I was so angry with myself. I wanted to go, literally break something. And I was sitting on the terrace of my hostel. I remember that. And I was like so angry with myself and everything. And then the senior came in and said that, why are you like this? I've never seen you like this before. So I said that, what can I tell you? First I'll say, in Hindi, I said that, Atti aani thi, satti bhi nahi aayi. I was supposed to get an 8. I didn't even bloody get a 7. His first response was, "Tujhe finance mein kaam karna hai. You want to get into finance?" I said, "No, I want to get into marketing." And then he's like, "Why the hell are you bothered about your CGPA and marks and everything? And it doesn't matter. They don't look at it. They look at extracurriculars and every other thing. So why are you really bothered? 7, close to 7 is good enough." And for me, that was, say, the equivalent of saying that, ja, jilo apni zindagi, go have, whatever fun you want. And then for the next 2 years, I did everything that I wanted to do. So I was part of the dramatics club. So I participated in each year as part of the IIM Lucknow College Fest, Manfest. We put up a play. National School of Drama people would come down, train us for a month and do a proper formal play that, is not like a small time play, but a pretty established. I did that in the first year. In the second year, I contested the election and I became the academic secretary of the batch. So if you, some of the students, if you're going to L, you will see my name on the notice board. I think it's there in the mess somewhere, academic secretary. So I did that. And I was a part of the band. I was a singer. So I had a position of responsibility. I did dramatics and I was a singer. So I applied only to 14 marketing companies. I didn't apply to any other firms. I got a shortlist from every single. There was not a single firm. My CGPA was not very great. It was 97th in the batch, right, out of 220. So not very great, but every single shortlist because everything was there. So ECA is very, and in my graduation also, I had done a bit, not major, but at least some amount of say extracurriculars, say mad ad shows, some a bit of dramatics and other things. Right? So positions of responsibility, definitely important. So if you've been say a member of some committees or whatever in your graduation and everything else, and you've been, you say even something like a class representative or something of that sort, whatever that you've done, a position of responsibility definitely important because that means you can lead teams. Right? Certification. So if you've done certifications in say digital marketing, this, that, whatever it is, say digital marketing, marketing analytics, anything, or some say foundations of marketing sort of a course, certifications also can be a bonus. So now you know that say those of you who are in your final year, right? If there is anything that you can take up, so definitely take that up, right? So if there are extracurricular activities that you like to do, take that up. More importantly, if there is something that you've done for which you do not have a certificate, get that certificate, right? So get all of these things. Anything you like languages, say maybe learn a few more languages. You like trekking, take that up. Singing, sports, dramatics, whatever it is, right? Positions of responsibility, there's something up for grabs that you can take up. All of this as and when COVID ends and everything opens up then at that point of time. So positions of responsibility also, if you can take up, do that. Those of you who are already studying and maybe have just graduated, maybe the only thing you can do right now is maybe if you like to learn a few languages, learn a few languages. If you want to, so definitely you can take up certifications on Coursera, right? Go to Coursera, look at courses in marketing analytics, look at courses, any courses in marketing, look at say consumer. You can say go to Coursera, look at certification courses offered by Wharton or any other school. Right? Do a bit of research I'll tell you where to go also later. So, but yeah, this is something that you can do. So analytics, digital marketing, anything like that. So if you look at it, what is more important for marketing is all of this particular aspect that we're talking about in terms of analytics and digital marketing and everything like that. So see whatever you can do here and how can you, what you should do to learn more about marketing. So what I've told you, so we cannot get into specific things that how can I convince this person, how can I done this, all of this is specific. You'll once you get there, you get there. But how to learn more? So we have a series of webinars. IMS is doing a series of webinars called the Future You series, right? Where you have people who are currently working at different levels in marketing, 2 years, and then they're managing a particular territory for a product. So different people. So watch all of these Future You series of webinars that are there. So you can get, Acha, this guy is working, this is what he's doing, not just say what I've said. You can get actually more in depth. So it's not just about marketing, about finance, about all roles. This Future You series is intended to do that. So that you can learn from a person, okay, this is what my job is and this is what I want to do. Because what I said is just an introductory piece that will give you the core things that you need to look at, right? What you can do. Right? So for profile building, as of now, the best thing you can do for marketing at least is take up as many certification courses that you can do. And if you're a fresher, you should end up going and taking up more things in your college and campus. Now, books to read on the Cat Writer blog. That's the blog that I run. There is a post called Preparing for an MBA and Not Just a Cat. It's right at the central carousel. So in that, I've put in some books to read about marketing. So you should go ahead and read those books also, because finally, when you go to the interview and say that I want to get into marketing or any, so it actually, all of this would mean that if you like marketing, you're sinking your teeth into marketing. You get a fairly decent idea as to what marketing is and what this is, right? So it might seem that there is an overlap between marketing and maybe another this thing that we can get to. Right? So now, in case about this, you have any queries we can get into. Yeah. What are the chances for people who don't have experiences marketing but IT and are interested in what you call pursuing marketing. Yeah. So this is a good question, that I don't have relevant experience in marketing. My experience is in a different field. So what do I do? Right. So firstly, when you go to campus, for in terms of making your profile for the same, the first thing you can do is that take up some certification programs to show that it's not just my interest has translated into action, right? So you can take up some amount of certification programs that is one thing you can do. Second thing is, once you join campus, right, in the first year itself, then you can decide joining on the marketing clubs that are there, whatever various clubs are there. You'll have different clubs for different specializations. You should then make it a point to somehow get into that marketing club. Choose the right projects in marketing. Obviously, taking marketing as a specialization as well. Maybe getting a summer training might be different, but you'd have to maybe manage that. You have to see as to will you get the perfect summer training thing. Maybe you'll get an IT summer training, summer internship. You have to give that up and search for a marketing one. So you'll have to figure that out. Right? So yeah, so you have to build your profile for that. Can you tell us about marketing consulting? See, marketing consulting is not a big thing in the sense that these are small firms that work with the agencies as well as others. So the big money in marketing and the roles are always with the brands. The brand marketing teams are the biggest one. Right? Which colleges teach data analytics to students for marketing? See, data analytics, honestly understand that analytics, whatever you do, data analytics, a part of it is the math. You take as a marketing manager, you don't need to know data analytics, right? You need to, somebody else can do that and give you whatever insights that you use, right? So the colleges will have to look at, and the college syllabus where they're talking about data analytics after a point is a different course, because it's about, say, statistics more than yeah. How do you make sense of that data and everything? I'm sure there'll be some courses on different campuses, right? So, is it true that marketing and salespeople cannot enjoy life? See, marketing and salespeople cannot enjoy life. First thing, whichever MBA you are choosing, once somebody gives you 25 lakhs to start with, and say what my friends are at close to say 1.5 to 1.5 CR or more right now, essentially your definition of enjoyment will change, right? So if you want a what you call work-life balance and this and that, I'm not really sure that is there in any what you call any field, not necessarily marketing. You would have to find a way for you to enjoy. It's not that marketing has more stress than others. Right? What is the role of social work in MBA? Yeah, I know there is no role of social work in MBA, but somehow social work is important, in terms of, say, the resume. I don't know why, but they feel that is important. Why is business development taken as sales? Business development is taken as sales. That's exactly what you're doing, right? Anything that you are doing that contributes to increasing the revenue of a company is that. See, you are never going to directly sell. You have an entire channel of people who are working for you. So what you're doing is business development only, right? Anything that you are participating in growing the revenue is related to sales. Right? Can you talk about a market researcher's job? See, market researcher's job would be working with a market research agency and doing so say, you'd need to do a research exactly about this. So what sort of a product needs to be launched for a particular firm, right? Or what sort of new flavors, what are consumer needs? So your job will be, the first thing in market research is designing the right questionnaire. So you would need to know what are the different kind of tools, different kind of questionnaires that are there, right? And different kinds of ways of gathering information from the people. Survey is just one type. And even within a survey, there are different types, right? So for example, focus group discussions is something that is, that is done a lot, right? Where say you get small groups of people who are very much into a particular thing, right? So for example, you might define your target audience as this. I want, say, people who are, say, gamers, who are 22, 23, this thing, whatever. And so you get people from that and you'll do focus group discussion. So market researchers' primary job would be to work with the agencies and give insights to the brands that the agency is working with to take their decisions. Groups primarily related to new product launch, this, that, everything. Yeah. I anchor events in my engineering college. How can I convince an interviewer? Yeah, see, as I said, anything that shows extroversion, it helps. Right? So I joined the webinar late, career and consulting in general management. That we'll do in the next one. Right? Difference between marketing and supply chain, completely different. Say, in marketing, supply chain marketing, you are not in charge of the plant that is producing anything. So the entire production, right from the first step of manufacturing the raw material to the returns that come in and quality control, every single step, right from manufacturing the raw material to customer service at the end, that is part of the whole supply chain. That is managing the entire supply chain. Do we get a chance to do international sales in B schools? So international sales might not be an immediate this thing, but say after a particular point of time, you can be in charge for the Asia Pacific region or something like that. So, so you start with one particular region, you might get a larger geographic region. And does present crisis like COVID affect a career in sales and marketing? See, present crisis, COVID is a very, very unprecedented thing, right? So, but products still need to be made. Products still need to be sold. Right. And by the time you graduate, hopefully, I think any crisis, usually the economy is back in about 2 years. Things might be different. But as I said, products still need to be made. They still need to be sold. The way they are sold might differ. The way they are marketed might differ. But that part still needs to happen. Can you share some idea regarding marketing in chemical industry? See, marketing in chemical industry or any, it depends upon, finally, it actually depends upon which segment are you working in. If you're directly selling to consumer market, which is like the FMCG segment, there is a lot of fun in marketing. If you're working, if the product is primarily sold B2B to another business, then maybe not much fun in terms of the marketing roles that are there, right? So chemical. So, and one important thing is, once you graduate as an MBA in marketing, you can move across industries. Not that you should stick to one industry. You can be a CMO in any industry. Right? So it's absolutely, there is no way. So my friend started with agrotech, then he was very successful at Britannia, then he moved to Myntra, and then he moved to Amazon. So like it's a complete, what you call spectrum of things. What if we have experience in accounts but understand marketing? Will that experience be counted with harm my profile? So you have a what you call experience in accounts or say non-marketing commerce. See, commerce doesn't hurt. See, you can be a BCom or a commerce grad. It doesn't hurt as long as say you do something for marketing, in the sense that you now take up some certification courses and you show that you have or maybe you have a job in digital marketing or content marketing, whatever it is, it should be fine. So I do, as I said, nothing is a bar to get into marketing. I usually anchor events. Yeah, anything else? I request you to put. I'm a trekker and like to do trek and all that. How should I reflect in my seat? Trek, see, you try to see if you have just only one thing. You just can't have. You can write that you've completed so many treks and everything, so that can be there. Yeah. Design thinking. Say, design thinking is something that applies every to different places. So design thinking is. It's become a bit of a buzzword as well, so it's something that, people use a lot, but it's not necessarily related to here. Maybe it's one of the tools that you use, right? But it's for actual designers who are making the product, right? So a marketer does not actually make the product as much as find out as to what all things should be there in a product, not the actual making, right? So marketer might decide, these things should be there in the product. How the product will finally look, that is maybe the design team's job. Courses that you can recommend us for marketing, just go to Coursera, look at specializations, look at certification programs, look at marketing as an area, sales marketing. You'll find all the courses. Look at courses from good colleges in the US, right? Look at courses offered by Wharton or, University of Ann Arbor, Michigan, or look at all the big colleges in the US and look at the courses that they are offering on Coursera or Udemy or any other place. And if it's a certification program, see what that course is about, look at the course details and then take up something. Yeah. Udemy certificate Coursera, so they hold any value. See, it's not about whether they hold any value in the sense that it is a signal of interest. You are saying that you're just saying, I like marketing. Second part is, I like marketing. I've done this and so it's not like, okay, he has done this course, so let us give him a job. It's not that. It's about saying that I am actually doing things actively and this is all an expression of interest, right? That you've done things. I'm looking at more questions. Does social service help in getting, social service again is one of the things. Right? Are we trained for these skills in these 2 years? See, I don't think most of these skills you're trained for, what we spoke about, the skills, the ability to connect. But now it's a good question. Are we trained for these skills? Then why do I need to go to a B school if I'm not getting trained for these skills? What you get is that one, you learn, and as part of the subjects and everything else. For example, in every single subject, you are supposed to stand on stage, and you have 8 subjects per trimester in 3 months, and you're supposed to give a presentation. So your public speaking skills, your people skills, do not measure yourself with respect to your people skills, everything the way you are right now. This 2 years will itself be a huge transformation. I've seen the way my students have changed between, say, 1 year when they've come to meet me during the summer training. They're more confident, the way they speak, the way they interact, because you're making so many presentations to a very good audience that you have there, and profs, and you have to do it so many times that you will get better at it, right? So yeah, and will you be meeting people with from absolutely different backgrounds and states and languages? Absolutely. So that is also something that will be there. So all of this will mean at the end of 2 years, you are not going to be the same person, right? Which is why, I've always, maintained that joining a fully residential program, say compared to FMS, maybe something else or whatever, is more important, because you're spending days and nights with the entire, batch and different people. And that is where you will develop as an individual in terms of, say you've never, hung out with a group of North Indians before. And if you're a South Indian, you'll do that. So people from different states, and that's over a period of 2 years, you would have hung out with people from every possible state. Does gap after graduation year impact placements? No, it doesn't. Absolutely doesn't. Is it necessary to do some certification before form filling? See, not before form filling, but after, say, once you get a call, they will send you a second form at that point of time, not at the time of CAT form, but it will help if you have these certifications when the calls come in. Sir, I'm a supply chain professional. How do I justify my interest in sales and marketing? So first start doing a few things. You work in supply chain. Now you will have to show that once you do a few courses and stuff, that, why do you want a career in sales and marketing, and why you feel you're a fit for it. So first you have to show your understanding for it, and then how does a career in digital marketing pan out? And what about product management and post MBA? What are the things that focus on for these domains? See, as I said, digital marketing is just a part of marketing. Right? What are you finally responsible for? When I say my friend is a brand manager, or was for 2-3 brands, what is he responsible for? He was responsible for the sales of that entire portfolio of products. Right? So digital marketing is one of the things that you do. So you start off maybe doing digital marketing, but your whole career is not digital marketing, right? So because that's a entry level role. You're not a digital marketer who's constantly, so somebody else will do that for you later, right? Your final job always, as it goes, is related to the larger thing, which is revenues and leadership. That's how it goes. So a career, there is no career in digital marketing. Digital marketing is just a beginning of, or one of the roles that is there in marketing. Right? Why do you do digital? It is a digital platform to market your products. Right? So a marketing, sales and marketing professional also finally is responsible for the revenues. So when I say group product manager, so whatever are the products in my bouquet, I'm responsible for the sales. Yeah. What about product management? Again, product management also, you need to decide what are the features in your product, how should you price your product, what should be the servicing for your product. So you take up subjects in product management, and you have, suppose, an experience in IT before that, and you take up subjects in marketing and strategy or whatever. You start with product management in a tech firm, right? But eventually you will rise up the marketing ladder, and you can go through this too, as much as the CEO in a product company in a tech firm. You start up with, say, managing one product, but you eventually go there. So the subjects you take in are those. We'll get into product management in the next one. Sir, I come from a product testing work. It's about 3 years. What scope will I have securing a marketing sales role? I'm an extrovert and great at communication, great market, and I've had marketing as an elective in college. So you have had a product testing role. So if somewhere you worked in products, so what you should be looking at, maybe, whether you're CAT 19 or CAT 20, I don't know. Soham, I think this is a question that you have asked. So you'd have to, once you get into a B school, you have to do a lot in terms of resume building for that, right? Projects, as well as being part of the marketing clubs and everything else. Before that, if you can do, if you're just going to join now straight away, maybe if you can do some certification, just so that for summer placements, you have something on your resume. right? For marketing, if you want to get there. Otherwise, if you have time, you're looking at CAT 20. So anyway, take up certification programs right now. And once you go on to campus, you should be able to. What else are there? Quite a few questions. Can you tell us about the different spectrums in an advertising agency? Okay. How are projects given during the 2-year program help in placements? It's not necessarily projects given during a 2-year program. For example, you in your resume, if you want to work on particular, you know that, okay, I want to work in these companies and these sectors. You'll write that these are the key projects that you have done. So that will give you both knowledge about that particular sector, and it's also a signal to those companies that you are genuinely interested in this sector. Suppose you want to work with Amazon and you've done some marketing project around, say, e-commerce, that will always be helpful, right? Job profiles in marketing, as I said, so job profiles within marketing. See, as I said, so within that brand team, there can be 10 different roles, right? There are brand operational roles, there'll be digital marketing roles, there'll be agency interaction roles. So entire part with this respect to product, price, placement, this thing, an entire marketing team that does it, you can fit into any one of those roles in terms of when you start. That you'll be working with a particular brand team. So from being part of one brand team, right? Because different companies have different structures, but broadly from being part of one brand team or handling one small thing, maybe you'll hand that brand, and then you'll handle 2-3 brands that all belong within that particular portfolio, right? So that's so eventually maybe you'll handle 2 different portfolios. So whatever is the structure and the way the products are grouped, you'll start from one particular role in the product team or in a brand team, and you'll eventually be handling the entire bouquet of products. This is a good question. Can you tell us about the different spectrums in an advertising agency? I'll come to that. Does operations overlap with marketing or sales? Absolutely not. Right? Microsoft Excel an important skill for marketing? See, Microsoft Excel is an important skill for anyone. Absolutely. As an MBA, Excel sheets will become a daily part of your life. So not just for, it's like one of those, it's like, do you need to know addition? Yes, you need to know addition. Yeah. Should I invest my time in data analytics and marketing or some other kind of experience, considering the lack of time for profile building? So if you look at data analytics and marketing, it will make sense, but otherwise, I don't know, Akshay says what lack of time for profile building, I suppose you are getting in this year. So yeah, maybe doing a certification program is the thing that you can do. Can we take up marketing and then work later for an ad agency? Very good question. Can we take up marketing and then work later for an ad agency? See, advertising agencies are, so what does the advertising agency do? So suppose you do you don't do marketing and then you don't go work for an advertising agency in a beginner role. Why? Who pays the agency? The firm, right? The brand pays the agency. So can a guy working here after his MBA from MICA earn more than a guy who's passed out from a top 30 B school and working in marketing because this guy's firm is paying this guy's firm? No, right? So which is why if you graduate from MICA or other colleges and you're working with the agency, those salaries and those roles will always be smaller than this. So what will you be doing at the agency level as a MBA? You're not the one designing the ads. No. So what you will do is that you are the bridge between the rest of the agency, the creative team, this team, that team, because you've done an MBA here. You are the person who understands the language that the brand guy is speaking, the marketing language. At the agency, you are the guy. So it's a role called client servicing. I've had close friends, from MICA. I myself had applied to MICA then, but I'd got, I'm not so hence, that was my choice. So if not that, I thought advertising is what I should do. So client servicing is the role that you will get, where your role is to be the interface between the marketing guy at the company and your team. So you will be the one who will be executing this whole thing along with them. So it's an execution role, right? So from marketing, so usually a friend of mine, the brand team liked his work so much, HUL, that they gave him an offer. They asked him to join the brand team and he refused. He said, no, I want to be in advertising. But then you never refuse HUL, right? You never refuse HUL. They gave an Asia Pac offer that he could not refuse. He took that up. And from the agency, he was working for a good agency. It's a pretty big agency. From there, he moved to HUL, right? So usually the movement is that way. If the movement has to be from marketing to advertising, after being a successful marketing professional using this thing, you might want to get into the senior roles in advertising as a head of an ad agency or something. You can do that, but then that's completely a depending on your skill sets and your thing. Can we shift from sales job after graduation to an HR or marketing job after an MBA? Absolutely, Ashish. From a sales job after graduation, you can shift. Marketing, though, you can definitely shift because it's a sales job. HR as well, you can. Right? I am placed in a startup company as a business analyst who will be helpful for doing absolutely. As I said on my on the previous slide, I clearly put up that work experience in startups will definitely work, because startups are about this one. FMS versus IMA for marketing. For marketing, honestly, there's not too much of a difference between FMS, IMA, MDI, IFT, IML, IMB, because Excel, because what happens is marketing is a large recruiter. There are a lot of jobs in marketing. So the difference between, say, IMA, IMB, IMC, and the other top schools and the rest is not with respect to the marketing jobs, right? But with respect to the finance and consulting jobs. So for marketing, any of the top 30 colleges will give you a great pick. So I was selected on marketing from L. I had a guy from B along with me, same Aditya Birla Group firm. I had a guy from MDI. I had a girl from IFT as well. So all of us were there. If my game is going to get into FMCG, sales and marketing, the only way to get in. Naveen, I think, what other way do you want to get into FMCG to do what? So only other way to get into FMCG is, say, I know a student of mine who was working in operations for 2-3 years, did his MBA from SPG in operations, and then went into PNG in terms of supply chain management. So he was working as part of the supply chain and operations team. So that is another way of getting into FMCG also. So what about people are confused? What specialization we go in for all? Yeah, so right now we spoke about marketing. That is one. We'll speak about the rest and then you decide. How can we gain some knowledge about and join some NGOs for profile building? See, NGOs you'd have to look at because not all NGOs are present in all cities. Right? Bhumi is a good NGO that is there in South India, and it's related to teaching kids, and so if you find that interesting, that's something that you can take. Does Apple hire marketing people from IIM? I don't think so. I think Apple has its entire marketing team in the US. I'm actually interested in actuarial science later with the job. So is it only finance I should look for an MBA? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I'm an extrovert. How to choose between HR and marketing? As of now, you know about marketing, whatever at least I've given you a fair idea about. In the next session, I'll speak about HR and other things, and then you'll get an idea. My current profile is revenue marketing in a managerial role for hospitality, covers everything you've spoken about with Xavier. How do I convey this PS again? See, revenue management, you have brought in the money or managed money, or business development means sales and marketing. That is all they need. What do they need to know? That you're not a techie, right? That is all they need to know, that you're not a techie. You have been part of the business side in some level. It makes so. Akilan, absolutely, not an issue. Can you tell us about digital marketing? How would the scope after current situation? See, digital marketing, as I said, it's not an area. It's like saying, earlier I used to give an ad in the newspaper. I used to put up hoardings. I used to give ads in a television. As a marketing manager, I develop great campaigns and put this up in different forms. As a marketing manager, now I might realize that in the last few years, my channels for branding will change. I'm not going to use newspaper as much. I'm maybe not going to use TV as much. Right? I'm still maybe going to use a cricket match and the hoardings in a cricket match, whatever the boundary hoardings that are there. But maybe I'll do much more on YouTube or on Facebook or campaigns for you. So your campaign might change. So you are not a digital marketer for life. As I said, you'll work with somebody else or whoever is to come with a digital marketing campaign. But your whole goal, that marketing, that is just one part. You'll always be responsible for the revenues, right? Today I saw my batchmate on LinkedIn. He had put in this thing. He's a chief marketing officer for Burger King. So that, hashtag bailout BK, that bailout, bail me out BK or bail out BK Burger King, is that they said that if you have had a hashtag kitchen disaster. So if you've had a kitchen disaster in the last few months, so instead of tandoori chicken, it became a tanned chicken. It got burned. Instead of cookies, it became over cookies. So the campaign was that if you have had a kitchen disaster, have hashtag kitchen disaster, hashtag bailout BK, and with a funny caption, if you send a picture to us, Burger King will actually send you a free Whopper. So it's not as if he's come up with that campaign. As a chief marketing officer, he knows that we need to do something on social, we need to do some event. So the agency will come up with it, he'll work with them. His role is always the revenues of Burger King. So that is something that you understood. So that is what I meant by saying digital marketing. How often do marketing guys take opinion from consulting firms? Very rarely. Consulting firms usually come in strategy, in the sense that if there is a new area that you'd want to completely get into. There are small marketing consulting firms that come in. There's a course in marketing psychology, Google Analytics for beginners. I had chosen this social media as so you can see anything that you do from a good college will help, right? From a certification which is good from a good college, it will help. What about people who are confused with specializations? Yeah, as I said, from marketing. So will you be taking only marketing as a specialization? No, because you can't fulfill all your credit requirements using marketing alone. So you will take whatever subjects you will take in marketing. So I didn't take anything in finance. I took all the subjects that I wanted to take in marketing. And as a second specialist, so see, IIMs do not say major, minor. Nothing of that sort is there on your you take subjects in areas that you like based on where you want to work and your area of interest. So after marketing, I took up a few subjects in operations, and I still had credit requirements. I was not very kicked about operations that way. I was only vaguely interested. I took up subjects in economics. I wanted to do some subjects in economics. So that's to fill the credits. I took up some economics subjects. So what if every skills are favorable but lacking in communication skills? If you're lacking in communication skills and you still have a year to go, as in you're taking CAT 20. So Kunal, what I would suggest is what you should do, and everybody else, in case you're having a communications issue, is research this thing called Toastmasters. Toastmasters is a community of people that get together to improve their communication skills. So my students who had a stammering issue, where different issues, have actually taken up Toastmasters and gotten better. So if you want to improve your communication skills right from your B school interview process itself, when say you get a call from the IIMs or any other college to that, and even for later, take up something at Toastmasters. Is it a tough journey, as you explained, about getting into marketing? As I'm currently an IT developer, can that be a disadvantage? See, if you have different experience, I'm not saying it is tough, right? But if you do something from now and over on campus, you do enough stuff and you take the subjects, etc. I'm not saying it's impossible, right? Otherwise, as I'm interested in stock market trading and all I want to become is a mutual fund manager, suggest people which stock to buy and whatever. Yeah, so you should definitely be doing a finance degree. For sure, Atharva, absolutely. Fin is what you're specializing in. And as I'll talk about it in the next session, if you're a CA, great. If you're a commerce grad only, it will help, but CFA, definitely, right? You should look at taking up a CFA. Right? And say, you will start with becoming a mutual fund manager and suggesting people. But is that what you'll be for the rest of your life? No. Don't forget that you eventually will be leading an organization. So this is somewhere a mid-level. You have many sports events and all, so you can put that on your survey, if resume, if you don't have a certificate. So but you can still put that. Best field for hotel management graduate, Rishikesh, as I said, I've just covered marketing. Look at the rest. So maybe because you've been in the service industry, you've been speaking, I suppose, because you've been in hotel management and you've worked, you're in the service industry, you've been customer facing. So maybe sales and marketing is one of the areas, and HR also. Obviously, after hotel management, finance and ops will be absolutely difficult. Same thing with the case with IT as well, IT consulting and management. So for you, Rishikesh, it's either sales and marketing or HR. I would like to start a product-based company. Advising me to an MBA or directly go with a startup. If you want to start a product-based company at some point of time, why do you need an MBA? Because people need to bet on you and give you money. And who do people give money to? People with credentials. So if you're already from an IIT and your co-founders are IITians who you have, and then you can get funding for your own idea, product-based startup, you don't need an MBA. And you already have the idea, you don't need an MBA, right? But you don't have an idea clearly. You need some time. You need to learn how to make a B plan, and you don't have an IIT on your resume, then you have to do an MBA for sure, right? So we'll be going to third year, we're attending CAT 20 days. What kind of certification? As I said, whatever, as I mentioned earlier. What else? Quite a few. So I have a job in cyber security consultancy, but want to get into the business part of it, which is just field to choose for the same. See, business part of anything, if so, you're post your MBA. So maybe for you, Shreyas, you're working in cybersecurity doesn't mean that you need to get into business part of cybersecurity, because cybersecurity is a very niche field, right? When I spoke about automobile shares, about my friend, my student who had gotten, automobile is like one of the biggest part, what you call things in the world as a sector. So hence from within automobile, going to the business side is big, right? After an MBA also. In your case, you don't need to go into the business side in that part. Look at the rest of the things that we'll cover, and then you can look at. I have experience in construction, and does it help you with marketing? Not really, Kaushik. I think, not. Does it matter if your extracurricular are not too recent? See, ideally, if you have something on a very big scale, even if it's say in late schooling, high school, it's fine. Some national level, when you know something, it's fine. But if it's after that, it's not a very big thing. Suppose you've done say national or state level sports in school, or let's say under 15, under 17, that is good. So there is some amount, so they know that you're a sportsman at some level, at the state level or something that you pay. But if it's say not a big level and it's very old, then it might be a more recent thing will help. Creativity seekers, is marketing the right specialization? See, creativity seekers is a very interesting. See, with marketing, one thing for sure is that you're constantly having to come up with new stuff. The least thing is a new campaign, because it's always what is fresh. What is fresh? So, for example, my friend was presenting to the CEO the annual marketing plan for the next year, and he had all the products that are already there, and whatever he was going to do incrementally on each of those products. CEO just said, "Don't tell me about all the existing products. I know you'll do a great job. Tell me what's the new product you launch." That's what I'm interested in. Right now, what's the new one? Right? So, is there enough and more for creativity? Yeah, this is one. If you think of this coming up with new things as creativity every single year, yeah, marketing is fairly. How different are marketing roles offer at FMCG and tech companies? FMCG and tech companies are completely different in the sense that tech companies primarily are B2B sales, not B2C sales, right? So the roles are very, very different. So for tech companies, marketing roles, typically they would want you to have tech experience. Right? They won't give it to a fresher. It's not here. And sales also, so it's not like you're selling tech products, on the ground. So tech companies, say be Google, Microsoft, all of that. So 2 years IT experience, more of a techie sort of a guy. And the roles will be product management, pricing. Is it super fun marketing? No. But if you ask me what is one of the most chillest jobs, work-life balance, maybe this product management roles and tech companies are the most chillest roles that you can find. Does your undergrad specialization affect your MBA? Absolutely not. I think I had clearly mentioned in the presentation that, absolutely. Do we require to have a certificate of working with an NGO? Yes. Whatever you do, if you have certificates, the better. Please give short, brief specializations for those whose academics are about 75 to 80. Mrinal, as I clearly said, for marketing, academics do not matter. We will take up each thing as it goes. Right? Please answer NITI versus SG SOM for marketing. I'm a fresher and only these two converts. See, both NITI and SG SOM are known for operations. Between the two, I'd maybe say SG SOM. You would have to actually go. They both are known for operations. You have to look at the placement charts and then figure out as to which has more roles in it. If a summer internship is in overall sales and marketing, will it be difficult to go for finance role and final placements? Not really. If your profile is for a finance profile, then you should not have too much of an issue. Right? So my friends had even a final placement as well, because back in the day at Lucknow, so many years back, there were not that many finance. But he was a chartered accountant. His summers was in marketing. His finals was at marketing. He got out, and in a couple of months he got into finance because he was a chartered accountant. It's not an issue. 4 years experience majoring business development sales. How can MBA marketing help? So Kavan Jain, as I said, Kavan, that MBA marketing, straight away you're going from a sales role, handling a small territory, to getting into say deciding what the products are, what products should be made, and you're not just selling it. Sales comes after or business development comes after the product is sold. Right? Marketing starts before the product, not before the product is made. And more importantly, as I said, the long-term goal is to become a CEO. From marketing, you'll go down to become a CEO. Right? It's not just staying in a marketing role. In MBA, the domain is where you are starting, but the end goal is to become a CEO. What is the growth of marketing in a tech company as Google? Again, in tech companies, Google from product management to becoming a chief marketing officer to eventually can you go and take up become the CEO as well, straight away. So tech companies marketing is not that important a function, but then yeah, again, the path to leadership is always there. Marketing, construction companies, I see construction companies honestly don't even come to campus, for the construction is not necessarily an organized sector as such, so they don't necessarily come to campus. They typically will hire some agency directly to do their marketing. Gap is there. So Muskan, about the gap and everything, there is a post on my blog, The Cat Writer, Should I Quit My Job, and about the cat. So go search just Google, Should I Quit My Job to prepare for the cat? You will see my post there on The Cat Writer. I've done consumer analytics certification to be useful. Yes. Is analytics a part of marketing? See, analytics is nothing but think about it. It's say having data, crunching data for getting insights. It can be a part of everything, not necessarily marketing. Right? It's a tool. Anything else? I have 8 months job experience. Will it be? Not necessarily 8 months job experience shouldn't be a problem. Anything under 12 is not considered major. Experience from small retails count. Any sort of sales experience will count. Working for my dad's business as a marketer, will that count? If you have a pay slip and if you have salary slips and everything, that will count. Yeah. So see, as of now, we are looking at international business as a specialization. Okay. See, as I said, I just so that you guys know once again, so that we close with marketing. For marketing, work experience is not important. In fact, they prefer freshers unless the work experience is relevant, which is anything that is a non-techie role but related to sales, business development, revenue management, territory management, after sales service, digital marketing, content writing, startup experience, business analytics. All of these business side roles, apart from say core finance roles or core say tech roles or operation roles, will be relevant, right? So just so that I can analysis of data is necessary for deciding upon target audience. Yeah, I think there is enough and more. What does a kind of opportunities as a commerce student background can see as all things are transitioning digital now and tech is taking over? See, commerce students, obviously commerce students, the main thing is finance, right? So all the various things that you want to do in finance, or even a commerce student, if you like marketing, you can get into marketing as well. So commerce student as such, it's not like everything has become digital. The tech is taking over. I know investing also tech is taking over, algorithms are taking over, but you need people to work in finance still, right? So Venta finance is definitely there for you. Rohit says 1 or 3 years in sales compulsory even if one has prior work ex for similar time before MBA, can we justify coding language learned big data analytics for marketing as knowledge? See, coding language and big data analytics might not be directly justified for marketing in that sense, Rohit. Yeah. Will WorkX as a freelancer in event management for 2 years help? Pranjal, absolutely. WorkX as a freelancer in event management will help as long as you have some letters of experience from them. That will definitely help. Yeah, I think we've covered quite a bit. Right, the webinar on the Future You series that will be available. You can look at that both on my IMS. I think it will also be there on the IMS YouTube channel. Right. So I think maybe we'll finish off all the rest of the specializations thing before the math thing. Maybe I'll finish that next week itself, and then I'll go on to the rest of the math ones. Right? So next one we'll cover finance. What is the profile required for finance? We'll cover general management, finance, consulting, operations, and HR. Right. So we'll cover all of that. So because there we can directly jump in. So those who joined in late, the first half of the webinar, in case you missed in something, that information will be there over there. Yeah. So all the CAT 20 students, you'd have to start thinking about this. So I expect you to go to the CAT writer blog on say how to build your profile for an MBA, and take up a couple of books and read the books. If you like marketing, you should get the ebooks of with the marketing books and start reading. Take up events whenever your college starts up and everything. So where you have to maybe, I'm not saying that you should decide on marketing right now, but maybe you should at least know you should be at least have reached the stage where, yeah, I'd want to learn more, or no, this is not for me. At least one of the two you should look at. Yeah. So hopefully this was useful. Yeah. And the next ones we'll cover all the rest as well. So I'll do the same format, typically what a career is like. And then is your, if you look at it, we covered as 10th marks are is an academic profile important, pedigree important, is work it's important. All those things we'll cover. So all the rest, and maybe in the next one, I'll make a simple, I've already made a table. So obviously if I had to show the table right at the beginning, you'll be like, okay, this is mine and you'll go. Okay. So I'll show the table also at the end, all of these parameters for all of these specializations. How does it work? Okay. Yeah. I will cover HR also in detail. Absolutely. So we'll do everything in the next week itself. I think some of you people are there. Yeah, so that I think we've taken the 2 hours, and CAT 19 students, I think I'll do that session for all the call getters in the top 30 institutes. I'll do something called how to make the most of your MBA. Maybe that is more of the managing your mind in 2 years, and hope this was useful. I will see you guys next week. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.